Hi, I'm doing this video on a full moon because basically I can't sleep, as you can see. So it's like 2:30 in the morning or something. I have been to sleep, but I've woken up and I'm literally ding wide awake. So yeah, these things do happen often on a full moon. I've had it before years ago when I didn't really follow full moons. I can remember a few times waking up and being like, why am I so awake? And then I'd like look out of the window and open the curtains a bit and be like, that's why. And then now I tend to follow it a bit more really, so I can kind of watch out for things and for my own emotions. So a lot of people will talk about what each full moon means, and not a lot, but some people, they'll try and say this full moon means this and this one means this, but I don't really buy into all of that. I just think that every full moon is intense. It's an intense time for most people, whether they're aware of it or not. I think emotions are heightened. I think some people are probably a bit more affected than others. I mean, we're all 70% water. So if we're around 70% water, then it does actually make sense that we would be affected by a full moon, doesn't it? Because if the moon affects tides and the water, that's what causes tides, then why wouldn't it have an effect on us? I think that's just actually quite an obvious thing. So people who try and deny it and say, oh, it doesn't affect me, well, maybe they're just really dehydrated. So yeah, possible. But I think also it's a time when intuition is heightened. So in the tarot, the moon card, if you can see, pretty moon goddess. It's usually a female kind of figure. So the moon is seen as female. The sun is more male usually. The energies. So it's a very feminine energy. It's a very intuitive energy. And your emotions tend to kind of go a bit crazy. So it could be a time of release. It could be a time when it could be a bit of a boiling point when your emotions can kind of boil over, or, you might say things you might regret, or you might do something you might regret, but it's a time when, you might feel a little bit overpowered by your emotions, say. And also, the energies are high, the energy. So that's why a lot of people would have full moon parties, and it does actually make sense to have full moon parties. And if we were living in a more natural state where, we weren't controlled by work and the kind of Monday to Friday grind, then I think, it would be something we should do, because it makes sense, when everyone's got all this kind of emotional energy and they don't know what to do with it, if you can put it into a party or something like that, some kind of gathering or whatever, use that energy in a positive way. It can be harnessed in a positive way or in a negative way. I know that policemen and women, I know a few, and I've heard that a lot of them, it's a well-known thing that crime rates usually are higher on a full moon. There's more fights, there's more problems, because people have this kind of energy that they don't know what to do with, so a lot of police are very aware of that and try and have more staff on those nights. I know in hospitals, nurses, they have the same thing. I've heard from maternity nurses, more babies are born. Just very busy nights, on a full moon, all round really. Lots of things going on. So yeah, my mum also, she worked years ago in with kind of adults with issues, kind of, I don't know what the word is. I think it was adult literacy she did, but a lot of the adults had learning difficulties and problems. And there was this one young man that she always spoke about, and she said he was just lovely, and most of the time, he was one of the better students. And then one time she went in and he was like a different person, he was like just acting really strange. And she said to the teacher who was like in charge, what's got into Kevin or whatever his name was? And he went, oh, it's just because it's a full moon. And it was like, he'd realised that whenever it was a full moon, and it's a known thing, again, I think with those kind of people, that's why they used to be called lunatic asylums, because the lunar And it can make people go a bit crazy. That there's actual truth behind all of these kind of myths and things. Obviously, it doesn't make everyone go crazy, but I think everyone is affected in one way or another. So, yeah, it's they say that to feel everything is both a blessing and a curse. I think it's that kind of thing. So it can be a positive or it can be a negative, depending on which way you kind of deal with it. So I say, yeah, if you can't sleep, try not to stress about it, just accept it. It can be a time when, your mind's going to just go through things and you might have a lot of anxiety, you might have a lot of fear. So it's a time to release that fear, release that kind of energy, and try and fill it with something positive. They say a full moon is a time you should do rituals to let go of things. But also, I think it's also a time when you can create something, because if you're letting go, that also creates space to bring something new in. So, yeah, try and see it as a positive. And good night.